welcome back to my show, I Am Becoming by Monica Singer. Today we have very special guest. This is professional Latino comedian Edgar Rivera. Edgar, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited. So let's, talk about a little bit about you. You're a professional comedian, and let's start off with a little bit of your background. Tell the audience, a little bit about you, where you're from, where you grew up.
I'm from Puerto Rico.
From Puerto Rico.
Yes,
Ooh.
yes. I'm from Puerto Rico, in front of a green wall in Puerto Rico. I'm from Puerto Rico. I was born in Puerto Rico and moved to New York when I was 9 years old.
Yeah. I see the accent.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, everybody, I throw them off because I have the Latino accent plus the New York accent. So out here in LA, I'm like, where are you from? So I moved to New York and basically raised in New York, and I've been out here now in LA for 2 years.
Okay.
I've been back and forth, but officially in LA, I got done with the cold weather. Yeah. So, Puerto Rico made me and New York raised me.
How long were you in Puerto Rico?
For the first 9 years of my life, man, I'm the meaning of a jíbaro, they like a hillbilly. Like I'm from you looked at me like
what is that?
I'm from the mountains. I'm from Ciales, Puerto Rico, which is like dead center of the island. Mountain kid,
Spanish was your first language?
Spanish was my first language.
When did you start learning English?
I'm still learning.
Yeah.
She said, yeah. She agreed with me. Yeah, I could hear it. When I moved to the States, when I moved to New York.
Really?
My little sister picked it up first because she was like in Head Start, and my mom put her in like English. She threw her like in there with English.
Okay.
My brother and I.
She was younger?
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
Yeah, she was younger.
They always get better treatment.
Well, I wouldn't see better because she didn't know English. So can you imagine somebody just throwing you in a room where you don't understand no language whatsoever? Yeah. They put us in bilingual, which is like one of the worst things that I think a parent could do to a kid.
Really? Oh my gosh, I want to put my son in bilingual classes.
Do you?
Because he only speaks English.
In your case though, I think it will work though because he's born here, so the English is always going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
If you come from somewhere else that your main language is that Spanish, then they do it Spanish in school, so you're not really
learning the.
You learn it, but you learn it in with your friends in the park or with people just talking in the street. So I think that was one of the mistakes that I did because I got comfortable too. I was like, you know what? Why am I gonna get out?
Yeah.
I was in bilingual till I got to junior high school because it was no.
Oh wow.
To high school, honestly, high school.
Really?
Yes.
Oh wow. Well, your English is good.
Stop lying, Monica, and you stop laughing. Listen.
And so, growing up, were you always like the funny brother?
It's a question I get asked a lot, and I think I was, I don't think I was the funniest one, but I was bad, bad and always trying to play pranks and always joking around. But if you would have asked me if that was what inspired comedy, I would say no. No. Comedy came really late in my life.
So how did that transition?
So I went to the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. It's a spot in New York City. It's a theater in New York City founded by 3 Latino poets, and back in the 70s when New York City was really bad, and they founded this place so they could recite their poetry and talk about their problems.
Oh, okay.
So it has a lot of history. You should look it up, Nuyorican Poets Cafe.
I've been to a couple like open mic poem things like that near where I'm from, and they're really cool. Like people get super into it, and they're really cool.
I went the first time I went. Somebody took me, and they took me to see. There's a comedy troupe called the Nuyorican Rule.
Okay.
And the guy in charge was Angelo Lozada, who's the person I give the credit to. So Angelo, this is for you. Always give the credit to Angelo Lozada because he was the first person I ever saw do stand-up. As a kid, coming from a Latino household, stand-up was the thing that you saw when your friends came over, when your parents didn't have control of the TV.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But as a kid, there was one TV, and once 5 o'clock came on in the news, and What the Mercado, and the novela, and everything else. Sábado Gigante. I never saw anything on Saturday because Sábado Gigante always took it over. So I saw comedy. I used to see comedy on TV. I remember my brother went to a show, and a comedy show, and it was a black bar association. And my brother was like the only blanquito, the only white brother in this crowd, and they ragged on him. He came home
Really?
so mad.
No.
Because every comedian that hit the stage picked on him, picked on him and picked on him. And he was like, man, I'm never doing that again. And I remember laughing. So they invited me to this show, and it was a sketch troupe. So just to name a few, Seleni's Leva, which is the Latina that runs the kitchen, and Orange is the New Black.
Okay.
She was part of the troupe. Seleni's, Mark Vieira, Flaco Navaja, Eric Nieves, a lot of like cats who were doing it.
Yeah.
And
at that time they were like up and coming.
Yeah, no, they were there. That time,
already...
New York has always been like the mecca for comedy.
Okay.
But they were just like, they were doing it. They were getting busy. Seleni's had Law and Order. Everybody was busy.
Okay.
And every month they got together and they did live sketch comedy, which is like Saturday Night Live. It was the same thing. They did the news, but they did it live. Oh. And I remember I walked in and I said, I'm not sitting in the front. Because that's what my brother, that was the mistake that my brother did. I remember I sat in the corner, and as soon as the show started and I saw that, that's it. I said, this is it. That was the calling. That was the day that I said, this is what I want to do.
Really?
And that was 15 years ago.
Oh wow! And you, like you said, you weren't the funniest guy in the group. It was just.
I mean, we I wouldn't consider it the funniest. I always made people laugh. We always laughed. We always bugged out. When you were your friends, how you joke around.
Yeah.
But if you would have asked me, will you ever get on stage and do comedy? I'm like, hell no. Like, never. I never got up in class. Like, I was that shy in class to never get up. So just to find this challenge, I was like, man, this is beautiful. And
so then what happened?
So then that planted the seed. So they used to do the show every month.
Okay.
Every month, once a month. Not the first Wednesday of the month. Mm-hmm. And every month I was there. Not only was I there, I was bringing so many people with me from my hood who didn't know about the arts, because, I mean, let's keep it real. Latino parents, they don't really see this. They don't see the arts. They don't see acting. They don't see dancing. They don't see comedy. They don't see that as a form of work, Like, they don't see how professional, how good, and that you could really succeed for something like this. Right. So I used to be in that mentality myself, which is always what I like to always go back to where I'm from and educate and see little kids and be like, yo, you could do anything,
Yeah.
So I used to go every month. 6 months into it, I stepped up to Angelo and I told him I want to do stand up. He had an office in 106 and Park when 106 and Park was popping back then, and he said, why? And I was like, because I want to do it. So I was like, I'm thinking about taking a class, which is what I tell people all the time. I don't think there's comedy teachers out there. I think if you have it, you have it, or you could always yourself. Get to it.
Yeah.
And this is what Angela told me. He goes, I've been doing comedy for like over 20 years, and I don't think I could teach a class.
Oh, wow.
But if you want to do it, you did it. And I suggest you do it because you surround yourself with people who want to do the same thing you do.
Exactly.
Out of the group, 3 of you might make it, 3 of you might say, I tried it, and just walk away.
Yeah.
And not made for it. And I took the class. And exactly a year later, from the first time I walked into the place on the year anniversary, I got to do my first 5 minutes with them.
Oh wow!
Which is amazing. Look at my hairs. It's still standing up. It was crazy because I was like, I got like here I am. This started me. This is what got me into it.
Yeah.
And here I am a year later on my year anniversary of coming here, and now I'm here. I'm on stage.
Yeah.
I was like this. I was shaking.
Goodness.
I mean, I had done it already because I was already in the. When you do the class, you do like a 6-week class, and on the 7th week, you have a graduation show, which should be your show for you to invite all your friends, your family, and everybody.
Was that your graduation?
No.
Okay,
I had done my graduation.
Oh, you said it was a year later.
Oh man, my graduation show. I set it up so it could fall right on my birthday, 2 days before my birthday. Okay. My birthday is July 4th, so the first time I hit stage is July 2nd, 2004, I think it was, and I remember I was outside and I was like this, my hands are shaking. I was like, oh my God. Because and to this day, people tell me, don't you get nervous? And I really don't get nervous, but you always get that ansiedad.
Yeah.
Say it in English.
Anxiety.
We work together. So
I have tons of anxiety, so I know.
yeah. So you get it. And I didn't know who to call. I remember I called Angelo and I called a couple of the guys and nobody was answering the phone. And I called this one cat, Victor Vitero, funny comedian. And he was like, yo, just picture them naked. And I'm like, dude, you're not helping me. You're not helping me right now. I still got the video at home where you can see my hand.
No way.
Shaking like this, like the 5 first minutes of, and
How long was your show?
It was 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
5 minutes. So I did that, and then I kept on going back.
Did they laugh?
Yeah, they laugh.
Yeah.
But if I see it now, I laugh myself because you see how
nervous you were.
Nervous, how tight, how like who is this dude?
Yeah.
You could tell it was somebody clearly.
Yeah.
Like following a dream, which is still what I'm doing to this day because it never stops.
Right.
But it was that's what got me.
Oh, wow. So I want to elaborate on a couple things that you mentioned that I think are some really key factors for people in any job title or career that they're in. You mentioned that will, that really gets you to where you want to be. You mentioned, surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be, really. Mm-hmm. So surrounding yourself with, who it is that you want to be like, really is such a game changer. Yeah. They say you are who you hang out with, mm-hmm. and the 5 people that you hang out with the most is who you'll be like. So I really am a true believer in that, where myself, I try to hang out with, mentors and people that I look up to because I want to be like them. And, you just thought okay, I need to take a class. So you're surrounding yourself with people that, you guys are all aspiring to be the same thing, I think is really, really important. And then another thing that you mentioned was, you had a goal. You had a goal, and your goal wasn't, one day, I want to be this. You said, basically, I need to take this class, and you had somebody that even doubted you a little bit, or maybe it wasn't his route. He said, oh, well, I've never done that, but, if that's what you want to do, you want to take the class, and you knew you would have a graduation date, and you knew that once that date hit, it was okay, I'm a comedian, I can do it. And I think that's really important. And it's funny because I actually just read an article, a Forbes article that stated, it was something that they did over at one of the major, I think at Harvard or something like that. So they took a bunch of students, all of the students in the class that this year, this specific year, and they asked them okay, how many of you have goals? And of 100% of the class, only 13% of them had goals, moving forward. They all knew what they were going to school for, but it was after school, once you guys graduate, what are your guys' goals? Only 13% answered, and of that 13%, only 3% said that they wrote their goals down. Right? So of the 13%, half of them made more money than the rest that didn't have any goals. Mm-hmm. And then the 3% that did write down their goals made 4 times more money than the ones that didn't. And I think that's really huge because you walked in, I don't know if you wrote your goals down or not, but you had a goal. You at least had a goal, and within 1 year, you were already standing up doing comedy. So is that kind of how it went down?
That's how it is. I'm a believer in that as well. Write them, and even if you can't write them, imprint them in your brain. So much. Imprint them so much that you have them in your head. But that's exactly what I did. I told myself, this is what I want to do. Yeah. It was cool because, when that year came, that was a goal. That was to me, that was a goal. Yeah. This is it. Exactly a year later, now I'm up here, and it could be somebody else down there probably seeing me for the first time and saying, wow, anything is possible.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's been like nonstop, you know.
Really? That's so awesome. How, who were some of your mentors, like once you already got into it and you really got into comedy? Like, not mentors, who were some of your influences that you looked up to? Even if you never met them, like who was like, oh, I want to be like this person?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. Because like I said, comedy came late, you know. So when people ask me now, was it like Eddie Murphy, or anyone, and I'm like, yeah, I saw Eddie, but I really didn't understand it because I wasn't born here, So it was like different. Richard Pryor, and those are people I look up to now that I'm in it. But yeah, like I would say George Carlin. I mean, you ever seen him?
No.
No, man, crazy white old man. Because to me, comedy now, 15 years in. And I remember someone told me in the beginning, and Angelo himself told me, he goes, you'll know when you find your voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does that mean? This is how I sound. What voice? Because that's how, and I was like, I didn't know what it was. And I kind of stressed myself because I was like, what's my voice? And then one day, I can't even remember now, but one day I remember when I found it.
Yeah,
I remember that one
clicked.
set, that's it. This is it. This is the route. This is where you go. So for me, comedy, it's the more personal you get with your comedy, the more deep you go in. Something that made you cry 10 years ago that you were embarrassed to tell people, but now you could get on stage and talk about it freely. And like Kevin Hart said, you could laugh at my pain, but that's what it's all about to me. So I look up to like comedians like that, like Pryor, Murphy, Kevin Hart is amazing. Bill Burr. There's a few cats out there that are just the ones that I look up to because I could see comedy. I could see the comedy. There's a lot of comics who just go on stage and they're funny, but who are they?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Are there a lot of comedians that off stage are not funny? That everything's pretty staged?
Weird. Yeah.
Yeah?
It's so crazy because you would never think, but we are weird people, yo. We are. Like people, like I took a trip 2 years ago when I moved from New York to LA. I drove from New York to LA. And in Chicago, my sister surprised me, and she met me in Chicago so she could take the rest of the road trip with me.
Okay.
So we had a sister and brother road trip from Chicago to LA, and it was 4 days. And at the end of it, she was like, bro, I never knew you were that antisocial. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I never knew you talk so much. You talk to everyone. And I guess it's not being antisocial, but it's just moments that I entertain. I get on stage and I get in front of people and I gotta entertain these people.
Right.
And then sometimes it's not that I want to be funny, but sometimes, I want to observe. I want to look.
Yeah.
I want to look. If I go to a show, I'll get there early just to look around and be like, okay, look, this dude right here. Oh, that guy right there.
Yeah.
And then that guy right there. And you should know, when I did your show, I was like, yeah, right there. So comedy, like, the more real you keep it, the better it is.
Yeah. Do you think it's been, I mean, I don't know what, like any of your history or any of your past that has been painful and that you talk about now, do you think it's a way also of kind of getting over that pain when you're able to laugh at it, like a coping mechanism as well? Yeah.
I
you think it's helped?
I think someone asked me the other day, they were like, yo, what's up, Edgar? How you doing? I'm like, I'm okay. Why complain? No one listens. And they came back and they were like, you should get a therapist. And I'm like, no way, dude, I'm a comic. I got an audience. And that's exactly what it's like. It's
people expect stuff from you too.
Yeah,
right?
but then at the same time, like you say, I could let it out.
Yeah.
At one point, this hurt me. At one point, I was embarrassed about this. At one
so
point,
they are your
it.
therapy.
Yes, and it's cool. You know why? Because it's not all about the laughter. To me, I could make you laugh. I know I could make you laugh, but I want to take you on a ride. I want to take you on that roller coaster ride where you could see something and be like, wow, that's messed up. Even if you haven't been through it yourself, someone who has. But at the end of the day, we're still laughing. We're still here,
Yeah, that's really awesome. I never thought about it like that. But that makes sense. That makes sense where it's like, you might speak about something hurtful and everyone laughs at you, and then probably at the end of the show you might get some like real life like advice or say, hey, you know what, that happened to me too. And then it's a way to just get it off your chest, and you know, that's your therapist. Like you.
Yeah, I talk about my parents a lot during my stand-up, because to this day they still don't see it.
Really?
To this day, my parents, and I mean, 15 years in, I'm blessed. At the end of the day, I'm still following a dream. I'm not where I want to be. There's still things on my wall that have not gotten checked off. But, you know, I'm following a dream. I'm doing a lot of travel.
Yeah.
You know, comedy's taking me a lot of places. And to this day,
your parents don't see it.
oh, my God. My father came around. I took him to a show. I did a show in New York City, and I do Spanish as well. So everything I do in English, I could do in Spanish.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I had my father in the audience, and I have a joke how my father was a superintendent in the Bronx, which is like a property manager, the guy that cleans, and I was his son, so it's called Super Son. So it's my life, though. I talk about my life. So I got to do Super Son for the first time ever with both of my parents, because that was my first time, and this is like 4 years ago that they saw me perform, and I got to do Super Son in Spanish in front of them. Got me nervous because it was like the first time, like, oh my God, you know? But I did it. And after the show, everybody was coming up to me. They were like, and they made him, that's a super. And they were taking pictures with him, and he was all like that, with his little gut sticking out, all happy.
Excited.
So he came, after that moment, my father sees it more. But my mother,
she didn't.
I just got home Monday, and I leave Monday again. She goes, when are you leaving? I was like, I leave Monday. Ay, Dios mío. And I'm like, what is this, man? You know, like, my brother has a good job. He travels for work while you can't see the same thing for me. She's like, no. But I don't blame them, because it's that
they're in a different
old school
mentality.
Latino mentality, you know? Definitely.
Yeah. I kind of can relate. Not in that, well, the way that it was for me, that I kind of feel like, oh, why can't you come around, is, you know, they wanted me to go to school. But then the thing about my parents was, you know, they were very, what's the word, like, conformista, like,
oh, wow. Now you're throwing Spanish words at me. And I
like,
don't even know what that word means.
Like, what does it mean?
Conformista.
Like, confirm. They're very, so instead of pushing me to, like, want to be a doctor, they were like, oh, get a job as a nurse, mija, like, you complacent, yes. You know? So it was like, never made me feel like I could own my own business. No, it was like, oh, you should, you know, get a trade and do this and do that. I was a science major in college, and I was going for nursing, but all through high school, it was like, I thought I could only be a nurse. I really, really thought, like, okay, I am destined to be a nurse. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's great money. It's really good money. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. But, you know, it's weird, because once I met my husband, he was like, yo, my family, I had Ferraris on my wall, and my family was like, you can get that one day, you know, like he's like, my dad would tell me, like, whatever you want to be, you can get there. And I never had that. And that's a little bit of resentment that I feel, because I got, when I was in high school, because I was following the, you know, eventually going to get into nursing, and I was following all of the sciences and maths that I had to do and complete in high school, I got asked to go to Washington to do like this little training to see if I wanted to be a doctor, right? So it was like, open your eyes to like the medical field, but like as something big, you know, a nurse practitioner or a doctor. And I was like, oh, this is a really cool opportunity. Like, this is the subject that I'm already studying. And I told my parents, and they were like, oh no, like, you be a doctor? Like, no, you can't. You're not going. You're not going. And I was like, Mom, like, I have this opportunity. It's a week long. Like, she's like, no. Like, te van a hacer algo. Like, blah blah blah. You know? I'm like, Mom. Like,
which is another thing.
Yeah, you know, they're
think everything they see on TV is gonna happen to you.
Yeah, you know, they're like, you're gonna go alone, and there's gonna be men, and and I'm like, Mother, like, no, understand, like, this is for my career, this is for me, and it was like, you can't be that, and so I'm like, okay, well, I'll continue, you know, I'll be a nurse. So I got accepted into 2 universities, and I ended up just going the community college route, on top of, you know, them not really being all about it. I didn't have any money, and they weren't going to pay for it. They didn't have any money, so it was like, well, how am I going to pay for it? So, you know, I went the community college route, and yeah, so it's kind of like the same thing. I feel like Hispanic parents, they don't, you know, they don't see like the bigger picture.
It's not. I wouldn't necessarily see the bigger picture, and we can't judge them either. I think it's just them. Were your parents born? They weren't born here, right?
No. They're from Mexico.
But you were born here, right?
Yes.
So you were born here. So, like, my parents were probably a little bit worse because my parents were born in Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. So when we moved to New York, none of us knew English. That was horrible. I could see as a kid, I could see their fear on their faces because it was all new to them like it was to us.
Right.
You know? And to this day, and I think about it, and I find it sad because it does run on a lot of Latino households where they don't see the arts. They see what they think is good for them. Right. My father still wants me to be a super in the Bronx because he thinks that's the best job, you know. They pay you good, and he still sees that vision because that's what he was. And he didn't have, you know, it's sad that he didn't, what's the right word that I should use here? I'm messing with you. They looked at me like they didn't have
like
the vision,
push, or like the support, or the motivation.
The motivation. But I can't get mad at them either because now as a grown up, I see the struggles that they had to go through to put food on our table.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I see how my father had to work 2 jobs, and on summer breaks we had to spend it in a summer apartment because my mother helped my father paint, and then we could have to help him paint, and I didn't understand it. But now I'm like, thank you. You know, even though you don't see it. So even though now to this day they don't see it, I don't know what else I have to do. I did Sábado Gigante, and they still.
You did
I did Sábado Gigante.
And that wasn't big for them to watch?
You know why? Because I don't want to talk about it. I don't know why I brought it up. I'm mad at myself. But we got to talk about it. I did Sábado Gigante. They reached out to me like 6 times, and 6 times I turned them down.
What?
Because they wanted me to submit like 30 jokes, and I don't have jokes. I don't.
Okay.
I get on stage, and half the time, it's off the top of my head. It's all. I love messing with people. I freestyle a lot. So I said, that's not for me. Okay. And the girl hit me up. She was like, Edgar, we got the perfect segment. You know, it's like an open stage. We can introduce stand up in Spanish. It's gonna be great. So finally, I agreed. Right, so as any Latino would, I was like, I'm doing Sábado Gigante.
Right,
like,
that's huge.
I grew up watching this old man, you know, and I'm
for
like,
those of you that don't know, just Google it.
This
guy was on TV Saturday night.
52 years, bro. For 52 years, he was on TV. Don Francisco, Don Bellaco, how my mother used to call him. My mother used to hate him. We used to call him a pervert. And he was.
Yeah.
I always say it.
I'm
going to say it in Monica's podcast. Don Francisco will be the next Bill Cosby, the Latino Bill Cosby.
Oh, my God, no.
One day. I said it. No, but so I got the call from Don Francisco, and I didn't want to say nothing yet. I was like, man, you know what? And I figured once I break this to them, like, if they don't see it now, like, you know?
Yeah.
And I did it, and they flew me down to Miami, and I had 1 minute, which is
my gosh.
a comedian's nightmare.
Oh,
you could tell me, Edgar, I want you to do 2 hours. I'll do 2 hours.
Really?
Tell me to do 2 minutes, and I'll be like, like, I'm like, oh my God. Because what am I going to do? How am I going to capture everybody in 2 minutes, or 1 for that matter? So I got to do 1 clean minute for TV.
Oh my goodness.
So the lady wanted me to do this calling out sick joke that I have when you call out sick and you're faking it. So I had to break it down to 1 minute and rehearse it with her for like an hour, just timing me. Okay, that's the minute. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna get 1 minute. Like I'm
You prepped
thinking
for 1
I'm
minute.
gonna get 1 minute. So I told everyone. When I tell you, I told everyone. I told everyone, their mother, everyone. I'm gonna be on Sábado Gigante, my family and PR, because they could see it.
Right.
Like it was a big deal for me.
Right, of course.
So then, an hour before we go live, because the segment I was doing was live, I find out that it had El Chacal, which El Chacal
my
is a little person. We won't use the M word. A little person who plays the trumpet when you suck. It was like the guy at the gong, the guy who used to hit the bell on the gong show.
Yeah.
It was like the black guy in the Apollo when they used to throw you out. Like this little midget, and I'm like, oh, I said it. I'm sorry. And they told me that Chacal was gonna be in that segment, and I was like, I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
So, cause now that put pressure. Now, like, is this, So I remember everybody was texting me. The studio, which remember as a kid how big it looked on TV. It was humongous on TV. It was really little.
No.
Yes.
Oh
Everything
my
on TV.
gosh.
Everything looks way bigger than it actually is on TV. Like this wall, it's gonna be humongous. Watch, it's 2 feet. But so I went and I remember I was standing in the back and they finally called me out. And,
Oh my gosh.
And the girl told me you gotta stick to the script. So I was like, okay, stick to the script. Edgar, stick to the script. So I went out and all I said in Spanish was, the worst thing in the world is calling out sick when you're faking it. And I'll say it in Spanish, lo peor del mundo es llamar enfermo al trabajo cuando uno no está enfermo. And that little fucker, he went, beep, 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 beep. And I was like that's all I said. 10 seconds. He blew. I'm like, what? So now Don Francisco comes over and he's got his arm. He's like, nah, because this is a family. It's a happy show. We can't talk about being sick. He said, try it again. Try something else. But I had not rehearsed anything else,
Yeah.
And as I'm learning now, especially out here in LA, because there's so many different cultures, like Mexicans, and you got Salvadorians and Chileans and Guatemalans. You got so many different people, and I'm Puerto Rican, so my Spanish is way different than your Spanish.
Right. And
Totally. And Don Francisco was worldwide. This dude was like everywhere. So they were real strict on it. So I had to go back up there and say the same shit again. I said it again. I'm the worst thing in the world. And the dude he honked it again. And you could hear me saying in English, really? And then he dragged me into like this letrina, the little old school bathrooms, and they threw me in there.
Oh my god.
On live TV, bro. Live
and your
TV.
whole family's watching.
My whole family is watching. And I was inside this little booth like, did this just happen? I'm like, this just happened live? I got thrown out by a midget. I hate midgets right now because of him. No, but I'm like, so I remember.
And you guys, like, for those of you that have never watched Don Francisco, they literally grab you by your feet
they
drag you, like literally.
And I was trying to hold myself back, like, no, I got more. Because if I was able to, if I was able to freestyle,
then
I could have gone in. Like I could have just touched him and be like, I just wanted to come see if you're real. All these things now all these things come to my head that I could have said and I didn't say because I couldn't. I drowned myself. So I was in that little letrina. What do you call
tub?
No. Remember back in the days that they had the bathrooms outside and it was just a hole in the ground, a latrine. That's what they call it, right? Wow. So, word of the day, #latrine. They threw me in that thing. And the first person to text me.
Your mom.
No, was Angelo.
Oh.
He was like, Papa, fuck them. They don't know shit about comedy. And my phone went insane because everyone saw this live. I almost killed myself that night in the hotel room. I went back. I was like, I don't want to do comedy ever again. And then my mother boycotted Don Francisco, so he wasn't allowed to play in my household no more. And then shortly after, then they kicked them out. I don't know what happened. That's what I'm saying. Now it's mysterious. I want to know what happened to Don Francisco. I mean, everybody knows. Tell me, because it was just weird. After 52 years, they threw him out.
Oh my goodness!
And even after that, they still question me. They still like. I'm like, man, I don't know what else I have to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell them I did the Monica Pack in the podcast. I'm gonna be like, mira, mami.
You made it. You made it.
Look, this is real, mom. This is real.
Your mom's gonna say, "Oh, I believe you, son. You made it."
She is such a Latina, like.
Yeah.
Like
and you know,
everything.
it's really cool that you can say, you know, but I love her, or but you know, you see the struggles and you're okay. You know, you forgive. Do you?
Yeah, I forgive. I mean, it's forgive sounds like so bad. I mean, I appreciate.
It's good that you're there because I'm still not there.
Oh my God.
I haven't let it go.
Well, I guess it gets to a point that we can't let it get to us.
Yeah, and that's
It's
kind of
our
what I'm. And
journeys,
you know what? And it's
you-
what I'm learning because now what I see is, you know, everything happens for a reason. So had, you know, I am so happy, in love with my family, with my kids. So I can't picture it any other way. So I'm like, wow, had I gone to, you know, wherever other schools, Santa Barbara or wherever, like where would I have ended up? You know, would I have had my kids? Would I have met my husband? Would I be doing what I'm doing now? Probably not. You know, would I be successful in whatever it is that I wanted to do? Would I even have been a doctor or whatever else? You know, so.
And those are questions that haunt you because you don't want to let them down. They don't, you know, they don't. It's at the end. You're like you're holding back.
Yeah.
Because you need their approval.
Approval, yeah, exactly.
And you know what it hit when it hit me? As I saw that book that you got up there, Awaken the Giant Within, and all about the positive. I told myself one day, I said, you know what? I can't expect nobody to understand it.
No.
Nobody.
Yeah.
It's my journey. This is it. I see it. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And I'm gonna do it alone. With okay, you don't get it. You don't get it. Está bien,
With or
vete.
without your.
I love you. I love you. I still call you. I still here. I will still fight with you every day. You bring it up and be like, you're killing yourself for all the traveling. But at the end of the day, like 3 years ago, I left a job. So even though I've been doing comedy for so long, I still had a job when I was in New York. I had a great job. Union benefits, 401k, you name it, I had it. And I left it. And my coworkers, even my coworkers are like, dude, what the hell's wrong with you, bro? Are you serious? I was like, dude, I can't. My mother was like, tú estás loco.
Yeah.
Tú estás la unión, beneficio. You know, that's all they care about. You 401k, retirement, social security. And I'm like, you know, I told my mom, I was like, it's not about, you know what I would regret more? Being 70 years old, I'm wondering what if.
Right.
What if?
Yeah.
You know, what would have happened if I would just took that
Leap of faith.
And
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And I did. I got myself mentally ready for it. I told myself nobody's gonna help me. I'm gonna do it. And I did it, yeah. And you know, it's been ups and downs like everything else.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's always one thing that tells me this is why you do it. You know what I'm saying? And that keeps me going to get up the next day and just doing it all over again.
Yeah.
Sad because I wish the Latino families, especially the ones, you know, like the ones who are
like,
not born here,
right.
or come from another country, and they don't see that. I mean, it's really sad for them because I could see those kids. There's so many other things that you could teach those kids.
Yeah, totally.
When I was young, I draw. I used to draw, and I probably still draw. I just don't really, you know, dedicate myself to it as much. But I was in junior high school. I draw, and I was an art teacher, Miss Goldstein, a Jewish lady. I will never forget her. She used to pick me up on Saturdays. She used to come to the hood and pick me up. And my mother just sent me with this lady.
And that was fun.
And she had she had a son like it was my age, and she would take us to museums. And she would buy me and her son supplies, take us back to her house, and put our fruits, and we would pastel and draw. And I would spend hours with this lady.
Oh, that's
and she would, every weekend it was a different trip. And I appreciated her, and now even more because when we little we don't see things.
Right.
When we little, if you
don't
don't appreciate things until you hit that age, you'll be like, this is exactly why it happened. That's
Yeah.
why I always tell myself, even if we don't, if this door shut down or if it didn't happen the way I want it, there's a reason for it.
Right.
And one day you'll tell yourself that's the reason.
Yeah.
And this lady got me into art so much that she made me apply for art school.
Wow.
Then she made me take 2 tests. I was the only one in my school to apply for art school. And I got accepted. I was the only one in my school that even got accepted. So I lived in the Bronx and I got accepted into a school in Manhattan.
Wow.
Which would never.
Yeah.
I won a T-shirt. I did check this out. When I was in the 7th grade, they passed out a contest on school for a kid to draw the logo for the school.
Okay.
And then whoever got picked would get their logo drawn. They would let the whole school know. They would print T-shirts. You could sign it.
Yeah.
And she was like, do it. And I remember I was going crazy. I was like, I don't know what to do. I could draw, but I didn't have that artistic eye like a true artist would just see a blank piece of paper and just and go with it. And I didn't have that. If I saw something, I could draw it and everything else, but I was going crazy. And she said, what do you use in school? And I was like, what? She's like, books, pencils, rulers, erasers. She goes, yeah, put all those things together and put the name of the school.
Oh, yeah.
And I did it, and I put it, like, I remember I put 3 books on top of each other, and I put Elizabeth Barrett Browning, which is the name of the school, and then another book lied on the side, and it said IS, and then 115. And I drew it out, and I won.
What?
I won a Walkman in the 7th grade,
cool.
and a shout out in the intercom. Like, I remember I was in bilingual still. Everybody was like, who the hell is this kid? Because they treated us like special ed. We were on the first floor. We only went upstairs to eat. So I remember I won, and they did the shirt, and my parents bought hundreds of those damn shirts.
No.
Everyone had a shirt.
Oh.
If I tell you, like 3 years ago, I'm not lying to you, girl. I went to Puerto Rico, and I was in my town, and I usually go and I rent a car, and I just get up there. Half the time, they don't even know I'm there. I surprise them at the last minute. And I was in my town, and I'm almost at my mother's house, and I saw an old man who I had no idea who he was.
Wearing
and
the
he
shirt.
had that shirt from junior high school.
Oh
the
my
red one. I
goodness.
couldn't fucking believe it.
Oh, wow.
But, so there's things like that, I wish more Latino, they will open up more and see that there's other things. It's not necessarily, because we're Latino doesn't mean we have to have a broom in our hand or a mop or clean or be somebody's servant. You know what I'm saying? That's not, there's so much more.
Yeah, and they don't mean bad. I'm starting to get to that point where, like my mom, even though we didn't see eye to eye when I was younger, like my mom adores my kids, and my kids, like, they love her. They love grandma. So that is where, and my mom has said before too, she's like, the things that I couldn't give you guys, because she didn't give us a lot of love. I don't know if your parents did, but like she wasn't a hugger or a kisser or like an I love you, mija.
Yeah, my father hugged me, slapped me. He did everything.
Really?
That's a lot of love.
Well, my mom wasn't like that, and I am with my kids. I am. And now, and even, my husband's parents, his dad and my oldest son, they're like best friends. And even his mom, she'll be like, your dad never hugged you. Your dad never kissed you. She says, it amazes me to see him with his grandchildren, because I feel like now that he's not stressed, he's not having to provide. And that really made sense when she said that. She's like, he's retired and he can be home, and he'll ask for the kids. He comes once a week and has beans, Guatemalan beans, and pan for my son, and my youngest doesn't like it, so he'll always say for cash, para cachito.
Because that's another thing they do. They give everybody a nickname. Cachito.
And it's amazing, because the way that grandparents are with their grandchildren, it's like they get to clean up their what they didn't give to their kids. And I feel like it's and then what his mom said was was, he was working too many jobs. He wasn't able to give you guys everything, and now that he can, he's showing it to your kids, which is just
different.
Like
history repeats
itself. Yeah.
And it's crazy because
and they get
I'm
a second
grandfather.
Opportunity. No.
Yes, I have 2 grandbabies. I know, guys. I'm sorry. I know it's shocking. I know. Yeah, it's how we look nowadays. It's my new pickup line. You ever been with a grandfather? It hasn't worked. Matt, stop laughing. But I'm a grandfather, and I have a son. I have one son. He's gonna be 25.
Oh,
a little knucklehead. My mother told me, what you did to me, you're gonna suffer with that one. And I was like, whatever. And then I was like, man, this kid. I was like, how bad was I? And then he made me a grandfather 2 years ago. When I turned 40, he made me a grandfather.
Oh my goodness.
And he gave me 2 grandkids in less than 1 year.
So you were young too.
Yes, I was 18 when I had him. So, but the one thing that I was happy about, I said, no matter what, man, he hasn't, you haven't got nobody pregnant. I said, one thing. And then he gave me a grandfather, and he made me a grandfather, and now I'm starting to see how it is. Because, we have kids. So as strict as our parents were with us, now when we make them grandparents, they don't have, I guess, is that pressure of their kids. At the end of the day, they could spoil them, do whatever they want, but you're the mom. You go home with them.
Yeah.
So it's like you say, less pressure, more relaxed. They don't have to work as much.
Yeah.
So and then it gets us mad.
Yeah.
Because then you start thinking about,
why weren't you like that with me?
Exactly. But then for everything, it's weird. Everything will pay itself forward.
Yeah,
everything. One day, what happened to us? Like I told my son the same thing. Once these 2 start talking and running around and going crazy,
you'll see why
I'm gonna be like, ooh, and then I'm gonna be like, hey, take him back.
Take him home. Here's a bunch of candy. Go.
That's it.
But it is true. And Tony Robbins even says, like, some of the people that had the worst battles are some of the most successful people. And it's, because of their parents, sometimes it's hard when you have a silver spoon in your mouth to say, hey, here, go get it. And, hopefully we get the opportunity to kind of break the tradition of like our parents being the way that they are and saying like, hey, you want to be a dancer, you want to be, anything artistic, like go for it. Go for it. As long as you set your mind to it, you can be whatever you want, But
we can't really blame them, because if you think about it, you're like, man, sometimes the struggle is real. They struggle so much to get us to where we at. So that's what I've learned from it.
Yeah.
No matter what,
I'll get there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
You'll get there.
I am. I mean, you know what? I appreciate my mom so much because she helps me with my kids. So she's she's my number one now. And but like you said, it's kind of like, well, why weren't you like that with me? But I mean, I came out all right. So I guess thanks to that is because I am the way that I am now, So thanks to my past, I am who I am today.
That's
but
it.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. So what do you see? What's in the future? What's in the future for you?
The future for me.
Or what are some goals?
I want to film my special. I want to do my new special. I think I'm working with Carnival now, so I'm on the road. I'm at sea with Carnival a lot, which I appreciate because I get to do so many of the shows. Packed houses, and I'm working. I'm like a comedian would normally bounce from club to club, city to city, city to city. I'm at sea just performing for 500 people in one shot, and I'm working. So
does it feel like a vacation sometimes?
Everybody thinks it's the dream, yo. Like my girl, she's like, she hates me because I put on social media. Look at this beach, and I'm like, yeah.
Like
I said, this is not for you, baby. This is for the followers. This is for the fans. This is for the haters. But it could get boring though. At the end of the day, it does get boring. At the end of the day, everybody who's cruising, either you're cruising with someone, a friend, a family, a group.
True.
So I'm always alone. So if the other comedian is cool, I'll hang out with the other comic. If it's like nah, then siempre estoy solo and I'm in my room and getting in the zone of what, this is what I want.
Yeah.
one thing with me is I've been doing the underground comedy scene for a minute now, and I think it's made me who I am today. I don't regret it, you know.
Yeah.
This is what I tell myself, and I had it written. I'm a hidden secret, and once that right person sees me, the whole world will see.
Yeah.
But so like I see how we pay your dues, you pay your dues, pay your dues.
Right.
I'm paying my dues. I'm paying my dues every day, and my day is coming.
Yes.
My day is coming where I could be like, okay, now I could do this.
Yeah.
I could do this special. I have a sitcom that I'm trying to sell as well, based on my 14-year-old life of being a super son, which is the reason that I'm out here in LA, because I'm working on that.
That's awesome.
And I got really close a couple of years ago, but they wanted to change it too much.
Yeah,
and
where it's not you.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't. They wanted to make my mom a college grad, and I was like, "That's beautiful as that may sound. that's not my story. You
Right.
know, I want to cater. I have a sitcom written and catered not only to us Latinos, but to everyone else, because it's a melting pot. Because it's a building, and it's a whole bunch of tenants, and you could put all the different nationalities in there and change it up. But I want to cater to the Latino like us, because your Spanglish is different than my Spanglish.
Right.
Even though we're both Latino, you know,
Yes.
you're Mexican, right?
Yes.
And I'm Puerto Rican, but your Spanglish is different than mine, as to your first language is English, and the Spanglish is the Spanish that you will hear at home when you talk to mom and dad.
Exactly.
Or tío or tía. So my Spanglish is Spanish and then English. So it's different, you know? So, what was I at? I don't know. I just wanted to put that guy to work. The guy's looking at me like, what is that guy saying?
Yeah. So then that's awesome. So you want.
Okay, got it. Picked up.
So you're saying.
I got it. I picked it up. So I want to cater the show to the Latino family who comes here from another country in search of that American dream.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally.
Like the people who come here and the struggles that they have to go through.
Yeah.
So it's my story, and I don't want to change it because it's my story.
Exactly.
And someone told me it's not relevant. I was like, you crazy?
Oh my
It's not relevant to you,
goodness.
but you don't know. Go to suburbs. Go to, LA is so different because I'm not from here. So last year I lived in North Hollywood. They're like, you live in a hood? I'm like, the hood? I live in a house, like, because I'm from New York. Hood is projects, and out here is so different.
Yeah.
But I say, go to these places where you see families who come here, or the struggle that they have to go through, just to make it. So that's who I want to cater my show to.
And the Spanglish community is so huge.
It's our turn. It's our turn.
It's
I'm telling you.
huge. It's countries on top of countries on top of countries. It's not America.
And I've never met them so much. My girl now, she's Salvadorian.
My husband is Guatemalan, and ours.
And they are both crazy.
Yeah,
She agreed with me.
Very crazy.
I've never dated a Salvadorian. I've never, basically in New York, you got Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Mexicans, which is completely different. I never, I was used
Totally
to the
different.
New York Mexican is 10 times different as the LA Mexican. It's completely different. But I've always dated Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, and now seeing a Salvadorian, I'm like, my God. My mother told me, she goes, "Estás so mala." But I love it, even though she won't speak Spanish around me.
Really?
I don't know why. She hates it. She won't do it.
Well, because you're gonna pick on her.
But I want to, because I want to get that, I want to get that lingo and be like, I want to sound Mexican if I want to, and throw people off like, wow, tall Mexican.
Yeah, that's how my husband is. He sounded Mexican until when he would speak Spanish in front of me. He always sounded Mexican until I went to his house. And he talked to his parents, and I was like, what language are you guys speaking? What Spanish is
Well,
there?
When I met him the first time, I remember he was like, so papi, dímelo. I was like, this guy is Puerto Rican? I was so happy. I was like, wow,
Because the majority of the room was Puerto Ricans. He can maneuver his way through whatever Spanish. He's good at that. But yeah, when I finally went to his house, I was like, you speak a whole nother language. Like,
and even though you speak Spanish, I look at them and I be like, I do it with her family, because I don't have family here, so it's all her family. And I go and I look at them and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like I can understand 3 words, but then 2 I don't understand. And I'm like, and it's crazy
and
how
Central Americans
we're all
are
Spanish.
loud.
I mean, we're all out.
Yeah,
I think we're all out, you know. So getting back to the goals would be work on that. And people are like, yo, you want to act? I'll act if you want me to. If a script lands in my lap and be like, Edgar, I got this part for you, I'll do it. It's not what I want because I just want to get on stage every night and just give people the best medicine, which is laughter, yo. It's incredible. I can't explain to someone out there listening or someone who's watching a comedy show, and the laughter is the best medicine because it brings us together.
Totally.
It's my new hashtag. Laughter has no nationality. It's the only thing that they can't take away from us. So for me to get on stage and make people laugh, no matter what they're going through.
Exactly.
And that it's beautiful, but the feeling I get inside as a comedian to have that power to get in front of a complete stranger and just tell them how I feel and snap on them and make them laugh, that is priceless. Because no matter, we're human. I've gotten on stage. I got on stage the day my mom got a heart attack, basically in my arms. My mom got a heart attack. I didn't know it was a heart attack, but she passed out and she was mumbling shit. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with her? And they took her to the hospital. We found out she had a heart attack, and I had a show that night, and I went to that show.
Wow.
Not one person noticed.
Yeah.
Not one person noticed, you know. And it's true what they say about comics. Comics, we're weird people. We could be the life of the party, but deep down inside, you don't know what that person is going through. Like all of us. We could all be happy, but we all have the demons, the things to society that are always holding us down.
Yeah, you just, like you said, you never know what somebody's going through. That's really awesome. I want to close with this. If, you know, there's somebody out there that wants to be a professional comedian when they grow up, what is, you know, a piece of advice to them?
You know, working for Carnival, right? I do 2 clean shows. So I got 2 different half hours that are clean. I mean, clean to the point that I got little kids running around and shit. I hate them.
So not like clean my house, right?
No, not like cleaning yours. But you gave me the okay, you know. And it's crazy because you have to be clean. But then I see the way that people talk to their kids, and I'm like, wow, I gotta be clean. But you do clean shows. And it's cool to see the look on a kid's face because then I see myself. It took me back to that moment at the New York Poets Cafe, which I could have been like, if my parents were more open and more into the arts, I could have found out about that in junior high school or in high school. I could have found out about the arts and I could have gone there. But to see little kids and their face like sparking up. Last week I did a cruise and I have a joke about how Carnival has those little showers, and the showers are so small that I have little arms, so I put the soap on the curtain and I go like that, and that's how I clean my back. And I do that on the family show, right? And it gets a laugh because everybody's living that moment.
Right,
they know
so
about
they
it.
understand.
So I had a father come up to me. He goes, bro, on my last night, he goes, I need to tell you something, man. And I was like, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? Usually when that shit starts like that, that means you offended me, you know? And I said, I need to tell you something, man. And I was like, what's up, bro? He said, he goes, I brought my daughter. She's 6 years old to your family show. And I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, no. What did I say?
He goes, and she was laughing. And I thought she was just laughing. You know, like I thought she wasn't listening. Me and my wife and I was like, wow, she laughed the whole time. But we really didn't think that she was listening to you. And today we call her in the shower, putting the soap in the curtain and washing her back. And that to me was priceless because that means she heard me, you know, and that's what comedy's all about, hearing. I got tags, I got punchlines. So I tell kids all the time, man, if you're funny, surround yourself with people, which is the best thing. Now, at least now it's different era as to where we were growing up because you know, I came from the hood. I lived in the Bronx. Arts, not only in my household, but it wasn't even influenced in the school itself because nobody cared. Now there's so many more art programs. There's so many more things that you could put your kid in. You know, just don't pick for your kid. You know, let your kid pick it out and support them and do what you want. And anything is possible. If you were to ask me 16 years ago, Edgar, you think you'll get up on stage and do comedy? I would have been like, never, hell no.
Really?
And then one night changed my life, and I'm gonna keep on and on and on and on until I make, you know, the whole world laugh.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the goal.
Oh.
So anything is possible. So if you're listening and you wanna be a stripper, anything. Why you got happy on that? This dude got happy, hasn't laughed the whole podcast. I said stripper, he's like, I don't know if he understands what I'm saying, but you could do whatever you want, and positive vibes only.
Yeah.
Like when you said in the beginning of the show, like positive. Throw it out there.
Yes.
If you don't write it down, say it out loud to yourself.
Yes.
This is gonna happen.
Affirmations.
This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen.
I'm going to
Yeah, exactly.
do this.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When you hear somebody talk about, yo, when I get this, no, it's not when. It's I'm gonna get this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you say when, you're doubting yourself.
Yeah.
I'm in this whole positive vibes only for the past year
Me too.
and it's gotten me so much better because you realize that I don't need his opinion. I don't need his approval. I don't need his approval. I don't need nobody's approval because I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
And then once you get into that positive thinking, you start realizing the people around you.
Exactly.
And you realize it. It's like when they say when you're a smoker, you don't smell cigarettes.
Yeah.
But the minute you let go and you quit smoking, you're like, oh my God, that's how I smell? Because you don't smell it because you're immune to it.
Yeah.
So when you get in this whole positive thinking and positive vibes only, you start realizing the people around your circle who are negative.
Exactly.
So when my mother gets negative and she doesn't see what I'm doing, I don't blame her. I'll be like, mommy, I laugh it off, change the topic, and I keep on moving. Because,
keep it pushing.
You know,
you can still love them, but you just kind of got to put yourself in the position where you want to be. Surround yourself around happy people, positive people, and it doesn't mean you don't love the ones that are negative. It just means you love them from afar.
Love them from afar, man, and not even from afar. Just don't let it get to you.
Yeah, Don't let it get to you,
and
and still continue to surround yourself with the positivity that
I'll give you a perfect example, and then we could close on this. Last year and a half ago, I drove back. I came out here. And I thought everything was gonna happen the way I wanted it, and it went downhill. Everything that I could possibly imagine could go wrong, it went wrong. And I was like, and it got me into a place that I was like, I can't get out of it. So I moved back. I left and I went back to New York because I was finding myself going back to New York just to make money. Because it's the Hollywood dream is big, but as anybody could tell you, it's hard because there's no money. You're following a dream that the only way you're really gonna make that money is if you make it. And a lot of people are not built for it. So I was driving back to New York, and my girl now, who I love very much, you gotta say that. I love you, Michelle. My girl now told me, she was like, baby, you're too negative. Yeah. You're too hard on yourself. Something happens, instead of going, why? I would automatically blame myself. Like, damn, I let myself down. She was like, you're too negative. She told me a story, and I never forgot this story. And the story, I can honestly say this story changed my life. She told me she came home from work and she left her purse in her car. And she went upstairs and she told herself out loud, she said, I bet you today they'll break into my car and they'll take my purse. And that same night, they broke into her car and they took her purse.
She manifested it.
She said it out loud. And she's telling me this as I'm driving cross country by myself, which is like a retreat in itself, because you talk to yourself, you're going crazy. You're in a car by yourself for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So I'm telling myself, I said it 3 times. I said it out loud. I said, how crazy would it be if after this whole road trip, when I get to New York, I hit a pothole and I get a flat tire? How crazy would that be? Because as a comic, I'm always thinking of like, okay, how could I turn the story into a joke? And I'm thinking like, I'm gonna talk about this on stage one day.
Yeah.
And how crazy would it be if I get to New York and I hit a pothole and I get a flat tire? And when I tell you, I paid the George Washington Bridge in Jersey, I crossed over, and the minute I got to the Bronx, I hit a pothole.
Oh my
goodness. And I got a flat tire. And instead of getting me mad, I laughed. I'm like, how fucking crazy is that? I said it and it happened.
happened.
It wasn't like I was looking for a pothole, because who wants to hit a pothole and get up? Nobody wants to do that. But I said it and it happened. And that pothole and that tire changed my life to the point that, you know what? It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So now when you doubt yourself and you tell yourself, oh man, no, something good is going to happen.
Yes.
And the last year, because of that, because of documentaries that I've seen, because of people who surrounding yourself with people who believe in the same way. I don't need negativity in my life.
Exactly.
I don't.
Exactly.
If I mess with you, I'm going to mess with you because you're going to influence me in one way or another.
Yeah.
Or I can learn from you, or you could teach me something that's going to help me out.
Yes.
But you surround yourself with those people, and anything is possible, yo.
Yes.
Anything. Even when I saw the intro to your podcast, and I saw how it was, I was like, okay, this is going to be one of those. And I promised I was going to cry a little. This is all, I'm going to cry. I'm going to do the outtakes for that guy over there. But I liked it because you said a lot of things that hit home for me.
Oh, really?
Especially coming against all odds, like no matter what they put in front of you.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
So it was inspirational, and it was my pleasure being here.
Yeah, likewise.
In front of this green wall.
Thank you.
With these two guys that nobody could see or will ever see, but they are someone too, and they're following their dreams too, right? Tell me this is the best podcast you've done.
Yes.
Say it out loud so they can hear it. I want.
Oh, well, thank you, Edgar. Thank you so much. And, for those of you that are watching and listening, he really hit on some things right now where I am a huge believer in, and it's manifesting and saying affirmations, and instead of saying like, I will, become a comedian, or I will be a doctor, or I will, you have to say it as if you already are. I am the baddest motherfucker in this room. You have to wake up and you have to talk like that. I am the best,
We could be our own worst enemies.
Yes.
We blame other people, but we are our own worst enemies.
Yes.
What we think down inside, how we feel about ourselves, that matters more than what you say.
Yes.
You could say something negative about me. He could say something. Anybody could say something negative about me, and then I don't really care. Because whatever, but what we think of ourselves, we are our own worst enemy, and we gotta put it. You gotta put it out there. It's gonna happen. This podcast is gonna kick ass, yo. This podcast gonna be
this podcast kicks ass.
You see? She corrected me already. You guys got the example. That's how it works. I just wanted to say it.
So you guys, just wake up and tell yourself that I am the best person, the best version of me. Whatever it is that you're aspiring to be, wake up and say that you are that person. Manifest things. Whatever your goals are, manifest them. Think about them all the time. Write your goals down. Put a date on it, and whatever you have to do in between to get to that date, do it. You're gonna buy a house, then go to a lender, figure out what your credit score is, and if you need to save money for your down payment, say, hey, okay, I'm going to save this much this month, this much this month, this much this month. By this month, my credit score should be this high. And then, this time next year, I'll be buying a house. Yep. If you're going to be a comedian, hey, I need to take a class. It starts in May, so I'll be done by, August, and then I can be doing stand-up comedy by September. Like, set a date, set some goals, and just go out there and do it, and just think positive. Surround yourself around positive people, and with that mentality, anything can happen. Anything. So thank you so much, Edgar.
Thank you. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Whenever you need me again, let me know.
Definitely. We'll have you back for sure.
Be down here, and then we could do a crazier podcast.
Okay.
I want people to be like, you got the nice, quiet side of Edgar today. And you can follow me, Edgar Rivera Comedy.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Edgar Rivera Comedy.
Say that.
Follow me, man. Check me out. Stay
Edgar
tuned.
Rivera Comedy?
Edgar Rivera Comedy.
How do you spell your last name?
Rivera. Edgar Rivera. Okay. Rivera. Like Mariana Rivera.
On
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Black Planet, Christian Mingle. I am on everything.
Okay.
She looked at me like, really? Christian Mingle?
All right,
but thank
guys.
you, man. Good luck with everything.
Yeah,
bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Right. And with that, guys, I'll have all of the links in the descriptions, and hope you guys really enjoyed this. I love it. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.